Hey guys, Will here. Not talking about movies today or TV. Gonna talk about what those things in the white boxes back there. Comics! This is Will's Weekly Pool. Here on the Will West Show.
Knock, knock, open up the door. It's Will.
So, Will's Weekly Pool. These are comics I read last week that are fairly recent, new releases. A few older ones from like maybe almost a year, a few months back. The format's going to be just me kind of giving like a brief synopsis of these and recommending a few things to read. Because I know comics are very daunting and kind of like hard to jump on. I mean, hell, back to my secret origins of getting into comics. About 2008, 2009, around that time, Final Crisis had just wrapped up and Batman had died. And the idea of a new, younger Batman like Dick Grayson or Tim Drake potentially taking up the mantle was kind of interesting to me. Going like, yeah, I want to see Dick Grayson become Batman. That would be so sweet, yeah. And all the books they were talking about with that relaunch, with the Batman Reborn line, I was like, dude, I gotta check this out. And I was just sitting with my best friend, and he was also telling me about Marvel's new thing going on. He said all the bad guys were becoming heroes. Like Norman Osborn was this guy called Iron Patriot. I'm going, that actually sounds kind of cool. And Venom was a good guy again, but he was the Scorpion Venom, and I was just like, dude, like, I gotta check this out, and I was hooked ever since. And you just gotta like know what to grab onto, look into what you like. If you like Green Lantern, look up the Green Lantern books. If you are into Squadron Supreme or all the Avengers, find out which Avengers books has like your key Avengers you like. If you like Captain America, go for that. If you love Deadpool, grab the Deadpool books. Just do a little research. It's a little bit hard. I will try my best to give you all the info I have, but if you want to get into comics, it's not completely difficult. And if you go to a local comic book shop, they should be able to help you kind of like gauge what you're kind of into. But without further ado, here's the weekly pool. All right, so to start off the weekly pool, I'm going to kick off things with Batman number 50 by Scott Snyder. This is a combination of a few things. It's the end of the Super Heavy storyline, which was Commissioner Gordon becoming like Batman with like an Iron Man suit. Like he was commissioned by this corporation and the police to be like the new Batman since Bruce Wayne at the end of Endgame, his memory has been erased. People still don't know he's Batman, but he just kind of living a normal life. He found like one of his past loves. He's helping out with an orphanage, and Alfred's trying to get him back his memories, but he's like, no, like Alfred, like I'm happy right now, like I don't want it. And Alfred's like, hey, I'm going to let him like live his life. So Commissioner Gordon took the mantle up. At the end of this one, Bruce is back. He's got his new bat suit out with like the new like just a slight yellow outline on everything and the black belt. He looks pretty badass. Mr. Bloom is also the villain that was featured prominently in this arc. And just, he's very, not terrifying, but like very frightening. If they ever brought him to live action or try to do him in anything besides comics, it just like even the artist, Greg Capullo, just drawing him the way he did, like I'm just like, whoa, this guy's kind of freaky. But Batman number 50. I obviously don't recommend this if you haven't been reading Batman, but if you love Batman and you want to check out like an idea, if you like the idea that Commissioner Gordon was Batman, you want to start with issue number 41 and collect all of these, but probably within the next month or two, this will all be collected in graphic novel form. And this is, I believe, the finale for Scott Snyder's run on Batman. He will be back in DC Rebirth with All-Star Batman, so I'm going to check that out, and you guys should be too. It would be a great jumping on point, and he's going to be playing a lot around with villains that he hasn't played around with yet in his storyline here. All right, the next, there's several comics here I'm talking about, but next I tackled Superman number 51, Batman Superman 31, and Action Comics number 51. Alright, I absolutely love Superman, and the new Death of Superman are the new 52 Superman, because here's some crazy things that are going on right now. This Superman got his identity exposed by Lois Lane out of spite. I haven't read that arc, but that is what happened at this point. Just took him in and put him in a kryptonite chamber. He fought his own god, Rao, which if you know anything about Kryptonian culture, like that's kind of a big deal. And the whole Darkseid Wars happened. All of those things have culminated to him dying. Like it's given him like a Kryptonian cancer similar to All-Star Superman. And this arc almost kind of reminds me of All-Star Superman, just a little bit. We're only 3 issues in. His main concern is trying to find Kara to pass down the Fortress of Solitude. Hangs out with Bruce and helps him bust some criminals. And I gotta say, Peter Tomasi, I believe, just the way he writes Batman in this is like great. He's like, oh hey, good evening, Bruce. He's like, yes, like he's just like such a smart ass. I'm going like, oh my god, like this is like perfect. Like I want to see more of this in future movies and just future comics. I love this. I want to keep. It's a bummer that they're canceling all these books for the DC Rebirth, but if there's a Batman Superman book, I want to see that relationship explored even more. The main arc is just him passing on, trying to pass on his legacy and dealing with it with his friends. And the cliffhanger at the end of Action Comics number 51 is Wonder Woman coming to the Fortress of Solitude, because at this point he'd given Kara the Fortress of Solitude and just kind of put his own messages in there, similar to what Jor-El did for him. And Wonder Woman just like busts in, going like, "Hey, like when were you gonna tell me you were dying?" And like she's pretty pissed off because, like I said, they're in a relationship at this point, and that's kind of a big deal. You got to kind of tell someone that you're very serious with about that kind of stuff. There's a little side story that's gonna maybe tie into the DC Rebirth line. Going around, he has brown hair, and he thinks he's Clark Kent, and he actually glows and turns into like almost an energy being like Superman, and is saving people, being a little bit more aggressive. His story kind of is wrapped up for now. He goes to the Daily Planet, tries to beat up a lot of people, and they like tranquilize him, and he's out. But it's kind of interesting, weird. I kind of want to know what's going on with that. The Death of New 52 Superman, check it out. The order I read them out to you, I don't know, is the order you want to get them in, but if you forget what I said, or you go to a comic book shop, they have these little things here in the corner, or there's like a little Superman symbol with numbers in them. They tell you like the order you need to read them in. I mean, if you don't want to grab all these books, that's totally fine, but it's very interesting. If you want to see like a new take on the Death of Superman, this is a great arc, but if you're not big into Superman, which I totally understand, maybe not for you. Next thing I checked out was Flash number 50. I was reading The Flash sporadically. Mainly the show kind of got me more interested in it, and the New 52. I'm going to reference the New 52 a lot, because that got me into a lot of books, because I was working at a comic book shop at that point, and it was just grabbing everything, because I would get it like 50% off. But I opened up, I didn't know what to expect from this. I saw something about like Wally West on Twitter. I was like, oh, like Wally's coming back, like the original Wally? Like that'd be so cool. That didn't really happen, but the new Wally from the New 52 was prominently featured. But anyway, I opened this up, and the Flash is like being arrested by the Rogues because like they were deputized by the police. I'm going like, what the hell is going on? Take him to jail. A few of his other villains bust him out as a favor to his dad, Henry Allen, and he kind of like is saving everybody. Like the new police chief that commissioned the Rogues to be the new police force was like, dude, like I was trying to like put you in jail, and like you still saved me. Like I would have like just ran off and ditched me. He was like, hey, like that's what makes me like the Flash. Like I don't care. Like you were just doing your job. I'm just doing my job and helping you. Which also revealed like the mastermind, like to try to bust and kill the Flash, was the Riddler. I know I'm not bringing up like a whole lot, but I haven't been reading like the start of this arc, so I'm gonna say I don't recommend this one unless you really like the Flash and you've been reading it. In which case, boom, start reading it. Maybe I'll do a little bit more research. Maybe you guys can do a little bit more research and find out where this arc started and see if you guys will like it. But Flash number 50, we're getting into some Marvel stuff. And Poe Dameron number 1, well, Star Wars Poe Dameron number 1. This book is great, and I believe this is a variant cover. So like, if you don't see it like this, like don't be afraid. There might be a bunch of variants. It's the number 1. But anyway, Poe Dameron, Star Wars Poe Dameron number 1. This is honestly like almost a prequel to Force Awakens, because this is his main mission in this is to find Lor San-Tekka. That's the guy who gives Poe the map in Force Awakens. And this is like, he gets the mission in this issue. I'm going like, oh wow, that's pretty close. I thought we were gonna maybe go a few years out, maybe kind of like learn Poe's origins and maybe like see like Poe like do more stuff. But besides that, but he comes across this culture that worships this big blue egg, but also like powers the city and whatnot. And the First Order is about to bust him, and that's pretty hardcore. And there's a little side story at the end. It's almost like in the vein of like a Sunday news comic, but it's like BB-8 trying to hook up these 2 pilots. It was kind of cutesy, but yeah, I would rather those pages be more about this. But I'll take it. They characterize Poe awesome. The art in here is great, and I am really excited about this book. I'm going to keep picking it up. All the Star Wars books have been great that I've picked up. Obi-Wan and Anakin was a little bit okay. Kanan, boom, I'm going to check that out. Star Wars, Vader down, just oh my god, so much good stuff. If you want to get into Marvel, but you don't want to make that full commitment, look into those Star Wars books because there's all kinds of good ones right there. But yeah, Star Wars Poe Dameron #1. Check it out. Right, next I picked up Squadron Supreme 2 and 3. These issues were a bit older, but I'm also catching up. So this maybe will be my comic book catch-up of the week. I have 2 of them. But Squadron Supreme, for the uninitiated, I've actually been looking into them for about a couple months now. I've been hearing about them on Collider Heroes. Saw this the little tie-in Squadron Sinister from Secret Wars is going like, I really want to check those guys out because they look like the Justice League. And funny enough, they are a parody / like darker version of the Justice League, Hyperion Superman, Nighthawk's Batman, etc., etc. With issue 1, Namor and the Atlanteans get like destroyed by these guys. They straight up kill him. So that got me in their favor because I absolutely hate Namor. And Namor is the first mutant / the Aquaman of this universe. He's a dick and an asshole. In fact, we find out, like I want to say in these issues, that Namor's the one that pressed the button when all the worlds were colliding before Secret Wars to destroy one of their universes. So I'm going like, yeah, Namor kind of gets what's coming to him. And it's also comics, so Namor's going to come back. I'm not too worried about it. Also in this, the Uncanny Avengers try to stop them, and I didn't know the new Uncanny Avengers lineup. And Deadpool's on the team now, so I want to jump onto that, to the all different Marvel version of that. And Steve Rogers, there's a bunch of cool people in there. And just Nighthawk's very strategic, and he's like just like stalling them. And he has like a little snap or like a little button on his suit to like let everyone know, like, hey, like I'm kind of in trouble here, like get over here as fast as you can. And while he's talking to the old man Steve Rogers, he's just going like, oh, like, hey, like your friends aren't here, like we're gonna bust you in. And it's like, oh, you didn't know? And then they just all show up at this one point. I'm just going like, oh wow, like yeah, that's such a Batman thing for him to do. The Squadron Supreme, I really like it. It's really different, but it's really not because I love a lot of DC. But this is a good Marvel book. If you were interested about them, these are great jumping on points. It give you just enough of a brief origin about the members. It set up a great arc, and hey, Deadpool's in there, so everybody loves Deadpool, right? Here's my official comic book catch-up of the week. This is an arc I started maybe like when it first came out, but it's been a while. The first issue didn't really hook me, and it was kind of like, I don't really want to read that, and just money was tight, so here we go. Axis number 2 and 3. This wraps up the Red Supremacy storyline. For anyone who doesn't know what was going on in Marvel Comics at this point, the Red Skull had Professor X's brain and got his telekinetic powers. They tackled a little bit on Uncanny Avengers when they first started that. Magneto killed him just because he's a Nazi. Magneto's like, you're an asshole and you top my friend's brain, like, that's bullshit, and he kills him. But he wanted him to do that, and now he's become the Red Onslaught. He has spread World War hate around the world. Everybody's hating each other. All the Marvel telepaths are like trying to protect everyone. And Red Skull has found these plans for Sentinels that Iron Man was going to use during the Civil War, which targets all the heroes. And Iron Man's suit gets powered down. It just like, things are looking bleak, and like Magneto ditches Iron Man, like he's about to get crushed, but the X-Men save him with Nightcrawler. It's like, oh, like I didn't know you were alive again. It's like, oh no problems, dude. I'm glad I could save you. So they come up with a plan to attack the Sentinels and Red Onslaught. They all get destroyed except like Iron Man. His suit just powers down. He's just out for the count. And then Magneto shows up with a bunch of villains, and Deadpool shows up in this as well. He brought a lot of fun to this and Squadron Supreme. And I'm going to keep reading this. I'm going to finish it out and just let you know like what my final thoughts are on this arc. I also need to finish Secret Wars, not the original, but like the new one that just started to kick off this all different Marvel. But Axis, I'm very like glad I didn't pick this up initially. I would have been disappointed, but like now that I'm catching back up, it's kind of like getting me back into the groove of things. And yeah, Axis, check it out. So those are the comics I picked up this week. I definitely recommend the new Superman arc and Batman. I'm not trying to be like biased DC and like the two main guys, but There's actually some decent writing in there. And I just know Superman events are a pain in the butt. And Poe Dameron #1. I definitely recommend Poe Dameron #1. Great jumping on point for all of those, except maybe Batman. But anyway, what do you guys think? What are some books that you guys recommend or want me to talk about on the show? And just let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like and subscribe, because that challenge still stands. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers before Captain America Civil War. So we're getting there, slowly but surely. I think I was at 35 last time I checked. So there's and just hit me up, guys. If you like this, keep watching. I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna try to do this every week. Maybe not around the same time, but when I grab my comics, I will read them as quickly as I can. Kind of get my thoughts and kind of get the arc out there for you, and then boom, here we go. We'll go with more Will's Weekly Pull. And just remember, guys, when there's a will, there's a way. Thanks for watching.